Today I'll be showing you how you can use the TSLab software to create a chart that displays the premium of a futures contract over the perpetual swap on Deribit. It is possible to use this chart to trade and even use TSLab software to create bots to do this automatically, but for today we'll stick to the chart creation. For this tutorial I'm going to assume you've installed TSLab already and also set up the Deribit data feed. If you haven't done this yet, you can see a TSLab tutorial on how to do this on their YouTube channel. Remember to update the TSLab software as well once you've installed it. You can do this by going to Tools in the menu and then check for Update. First, let's go to the script manager. Here we're going to create a new script by clicking here, then give the script a suitable name. You may eventually have lots of scripts, so it's best to give them a relevant name rather than script 1, script 2, etc. Double-click the newly created script, and this takes us to the script editor. TSLab has automatically created several blocks for the script. We will not be using the volume block, so let's get rid of that. Simply click on it to select, then press delete. Now we're left with a tradable instrument block, a close block, and the main chart block. Let's first input one of the instruments we'll be using, the Deribit perpetual swap. To do this, double-click the tradable instrument block. This will bring up some options. We've already set up the Deribit data feed, so the Deribit instruments are displayed on the right. Scroll down and select BTC perpetual and click OK. We can now take a quick look at the chart panel by clicking here. As you can see, the data has now been loaded into the chart in candle form. Now back to the editor panel. For this premium chart example, we'll be working with line charts of the close instead of candles. To add the close to the chart, drag from the exit of the close block to the main block. Now with this connection selected, make sure in the properties that chart style is set to line and that line style is set to solid line. You can also adjust the colors here to suit the look you want. We'll leave these as is for now. To plot this on the chart, click Run in the top right. This will run the script again with any changes we've made. As this new chart is just the closes of the existing candles, you can see it overlaps the candle chart. Let's hide the candle chart by clicking the legend in the top left, then unselecting the source 1 block. We're left with the line chart of the closes of the perpetual swap. Perfect. Back to the script editor again. Now we would like to add in a new instrument, this time a Deribit futures contract that we are interested in tracking the premium of. Go to the top right toolbar and find the tradable instrument block. You can search for this by typing. Drag a block into the editor, double-click this new block and select the desired futures contract. For this tutorial, we will be using the September 2019 futures contract. This will of course change over time as old contracts expire and new contracts are released. Click the future, then click OK. We now have the futures contract data to work with, but we need to get this data onto the chart. As with the perpetual data, we want the closes. So go to the toolbar, search for the close block. This is located in the Trading Mathematics section. Drag the block to the editor. Now we want to link this to the futures data. So drag from the exit of the tradable instrument block to the input of the close block, like so. Now to get this data onto the chart, drag from the exit of the close block to the main chart block. Make sure you drag it to the same side as the perpetual close so that they are both on the same scale. Again, click Run in the top right and the script will plot this new data onto the chart as well. We now have a line chart displaying both the perpetual and the September future. This is already a handy visual, but it's not very quick to compare the premium at different times, and it's only showing absolute dollar amounts. It would be a useful addition to also display the premium itself as a percentage on a separate chart. So let's build this now. Back to the script editor. To get the premium as a percentage, we will need a couple of trading mathematics blocks, the first of which is the subtract block. Go to the toolbar, search for subtract, then drag a block into the editor. Unlike the previous blocks we've used, this block has two inputs. This block will subtract the bottom input from the top input. The output will be the result of this calculation. We want to subtract the perpetual price from the futures price, so drag the output of the futures close block to the top input and the output of the perpetual close block to the bottom input. Next, we want a formula block. Search for this in the toolbar and drag a block into the editor. The formula blocks can have many inputs. For this formula, we will need the result from the subtract block and the close value from the perpetual. Drag both of these to the formula block like so. Double-click the formula block to bring up the box where we will enter our formula. You can use the names of other blocks as variables in these formulas. Begin to type subtract and you will see the block name appear at the bottom. You can double-click this to include it as a variable. Next, we want to divide this by the close of the perpetual, so type slash and then close 1. As you begin to type close, you'll notice both of the close boxes appear in the bottom left. You can double-click the close 1, as that is the one connected to the perpetual data. Finally, we want to multiply this by 100 to give us the percentage. Enter this with asterisk, then 100. Now press OK. This block is now calculating the percentage premium of the September future over the perpetual swap. It's time to get this data onto the chart. We don't want to display this on the same axis as the price charts though, so we'll need a new chart block. Search the toolbar for chart pane. It's in the service elements section. Drag the output of the formula block to this new chart block. As the percentage is going to be a considerably smaller number than the absolute prices, it is a good idea to change the accuracy of the y-axis. Click the chart block and adjust the right axis accuracy to 2. This will display the scale to 2 decimal places. Click Run to see the result. We now have the absolute price of both the perpetual and the September future on top, with the percentage premium underneath on a separate chart. It can also be useful to place a horizontal line at 0, like so. You may also like to adjust the colours. I like to display a premium in green and a discount in red, as it really stands out. To do this, go back to the editor and click the link between the formula block and the chart block. You can then edit the colours in the bottom right. Alternatively, you can double-click the link to bring up a pop-up. Click Run and you'll see the colour changes. If you're just using this as a visual reference rather than for algorithmic trading, this still looks a little noisy. This is because the data interval is still set to 1 minute. At the top of the chart, there are options to change this. Setting this to 60 minutes makes it a little easier on the eyes. You may notice the chart currently only goes back to July. The future was released before this date, and it is possible to show data going further back. To do this, right-click, click Properties, and scroll down to Date From. I'll adjust this to the 1st of April 2019, for example. Click Apply, then OK. You'll see the new data loaded into the chart. Be wary of adjusting this date to before the futures contract was live, or the premium data before that date will not make sense. You can now create charts that display the premium of one instrument over another in TSLab. These can be used as a visual reference, allowing you to analyze how the premium behaves over time and with price action. You can also use this setup as the basis for either a manual trading system or a trading bot.